Hello, my name is Andrew, and I'm going to be showing you how to set up an Expo React Native app with Firebase. So let me just give you like a quick demo of what it looks like. So we're going to say andrewsheim@gmail.com, and then we're going to put in a password, and we're going to, create an account. This is basically the same. I already created the account earlier, but basically you're going to have to assume that that works. But you log in, and then you have these two different tabs. I added also a sign out button as well as a delete account button. So then you sign out and then you're back to here. So basically simple Firebase email authentication. That is what we're going to be doing today. So I just want to give you a quick demo. And this screen right here is just like a cool ChatGPT animation that I actually got from Simon Grimm, one of his tutorials. So I thought we might as well just add that and copy paste the code in. And all the links for this tutorial are going to be linked in the description down below, so you can find those there. So the first thing we're going to do is set up an Expo app. So we have the npx create Expo app at latest, basically the latest version of Expo at the moment. And we're going to just call this test, and we're going to use the templates flag. And this basically, the template flag lets us choose different templates. It's either T or dash template. We're going to be using this navigation one. It's basically the two tabs that you saw earlier. It has built-in navigation, so I think that's like nice, and most apps are going to be using that, so I figured we might be using that one. And then while that, we're going to be using code from this it's basically the demo that I just showed you. The code is on this npms app chip. And you can feel free to clone this and basically just change like the Firebase config, and everything should be working out of the box. And if not, just let me know. But otherwise, we are going to be using this as like our basics. So now that it's done, we're going to cd into the folder, and then we're going to bring up our favorite code editor. I use VS Code, and I'll full screen this puppy. And let's see here. Now we want to pull up the simulator. So the command is npx expo run iOS, and this will pull up an iOS simulator for us. The bundle identifier, this is just how iOS identifies each app. You just have to make sure that's unique. And then we're going to be installing, and this will take a little bit, but it should pull up a simulator. And in the meantime, we're going to be setting up other items. On a side note, if you haven't set up this iOS simulation, then what you're going to have to do is go to the Expo documentation, which is here. And this basically shows you how to set up either an Android device or Android emulator or simulator iOS. And we're going to be using this developmental build because it's better for production, and we're installing like custom packages. Expo Go is just good for getting things running, but so basically focus on developmental build. You won't have to worry about Expo Go. So while this app is getting set up, we're going to go into Firebase, and we're going to set up our get our configurations. So if you haven't made a Firebase already, go to firebase.google.com, go to the console, we're going to add project, we'll just call this test, make it easy, disable Google Analytics, create project, and we'll wait until that project is complete. And Firebase is really nice just because it's set up very nicely for authentication and gets the job done pretty easily. We just need like a couple lines of code. So we're going to go to build, authentication, get started. And we are only going to be using email and password at the moment. So we're going to enable that, save it, and then boom, email and password is enabled. Now we're going to generate a new project. So we can go to project overview. We're going to say we're going to add an app. We're going to add a web app, call it test, register it, and then this will give us the configuration for our Firebase. So we're also gonna install npm install Firebase later. We forgot to do that. But so originally I would just copy paste this in and So we make a new file and call it maybe firebase config.ts, and then we would copy this in, and this would be how we connect to our Firebase app. We do a couple more steps, and I'm just going to copy and paste it from this code right here, just to make things easier, and then I'll explain what we're doing. So this is like the initial app. We still initialize the app, and we're just going to be adding a few more things, like the database and whatnot, even though we don't really need a database. So instead of Firebase config, you're also going to put in your configuration files. So like that. And so we're going to install the Firebase package, and we're also going to be installing this thing called React Native Async Storage, which just provides async storage locally on the app. And this is good for specifically initializing the app, which is what we're going to be using here, the authentication. So then the user doesn't have to re-authenticate and log in every time they open the app, and it persists across use unless they like uninstall the app, then they will have to re-log in. So it just adds persistence to the app. So now that we have the Firebase basically set up, now we can start building out the pages. So basically, with Expo, everything is in the app, and then we'll have like different components that we use. And then the iOS, this is where like our build production is, where iOS runs it natively. But yeah, so first thing we're gonna do is go into this folder right here. So our iOS simulator is up. So we have the layout tab, and this is where like all the initial layouts are. And then we have the HTML not found. We can just delete these because we're probably not going to use those. The modal we can keep. And then we're going to add two different files. We're going to add a index.tsx, and then we're going to also add a login page, login.tsx. And login will just have our our email forms and stuff. And the index page will just be the initial page that they log into. So it's like kind of like the landing page. And so let's go to the index page first. So I'm just going to copy and paste this over from this app right here. So we go into app, and we have the index. And so we have two different components, animated intro and bottom login street. The animated intro is going to be this component right here, and that's like the whole ChatGPT animation that we're going to be adding in. And so we're just going to copy and paste that in. Animated intro.tsx. So copy raw file, I believe. Boom, new file. Animated intro.tsx. Let's see here, color palette. Okay, we also need the right colors, and we need npx redash. So we're gonna open up a new terminal, so we can npm install Firebase, and then we're gonna also install React Native Redash. I guess we could have done them all at the same time. npm install React Native Redash. Perfect. And then while that is going, we're gonna need, and then we're also gonna install this. We go to Firebase config and this React Native Async Storage. Perfect. So we're just gonna copy paste that. npm install React Native Async Storage. So then we have all the correct packages, and this should be good. I don't know why it's has no import. Anyways, we'll just. Oh, I think we have to add something to. Okay, I know how to fix that. For some reason, we have to go to the app.config. So we're gonna go to the code, the ts config. And we have to add this specific line. I don't know why, but I found this error, and this is the answer. So we're gonna go into pass believe, let me see. Nice. And then if we go back to the Firebase config, yeah, nice, it's fixed. Okay, perfect. Get rid of that error. Okay, components / bottom login sheet. Okay, we're gonna need the component bottom login sheet. Copy paste that in. So we're gonna add that component here, new file. What's it called? Bottom login sheet.tsx in our component file. Copy and paste that code. Okay, so we're gonna need the styles component as well as color palette and colors. So let's go into our constants, and we have our colors, and we're going to be adding a few more colors from our constants in this file. So we have the colors, and then we have the color palette that we want to add. And this color palette is basically used for the animated intro screen for ChatGPT, and we're also going to add these styles. So default styles, and these are just like predefined styles. And we're going to call this, we're going to make a new file called styles.ts. Boom. All right, perfect. So, okay, let's close on these. Index, okay, do we have the bottom sheet? Sometimes it doesn't update automatically. Bottom login sheet. Default styles. Do we have the styles? We're still getting errors, but I think we're good. Okay, we have the login, constants, styles. For some reason that should be good, but I don't know why it's still. Okay, maybe we'll just hope that it works. Go from there. Oh yeah, we closed it and now it's good. Okay, so the errors are gone. Perfect. So we set up those two components. So now, okay, right now it automatically routes to the inside of the app, which is the tabs right here. And so we want it to actually go onto the landing page first and not that. So I believe in the layout right here, we're going to add a stack.screen, or we'll just copy and paste this one up here. And then this is going to be called, instead of tabs, we're going to call it index. And then I believe, yes. So now it routes to this index page. The layout routes to the index page first. And then once we are on the index page, it has the animated intro and the bottom sheet login. This is the animated intro, and this is the bottom sheet login. And the bottom sheet login, the continue with email and the login screen currently route to this login screen right here. I don't know if we have to add the login screen, but maybe, I guess we don't. We'll just keep it there for now. I guess we don't have to add it to the stack doc screen. I'm assuming we did. So now let's go to this login screen that we have. Let's see here. We're gonna go to app. We're just gonna copy and paste it in, and then I'll like go through the file and see if there's anything of note to explain. Looks like we have no errors, which is good. Basically, we just load in the email password. We have the authentication Firebase auth that we get from our Firebase config file right down here. Let's go back to the login. So we have two different functions. We have the sign in and the sign up. And depending on if they have signed in or signed up, we're going to hit the Firebase sign in with email and password, which is right here. And then if they're correctly signed in, we're going to route them to the tabs, which is like the inside part of our app, which is right here. And we can call it something else if we want. Yeah, and then two text inputs. Those are like the email and password. Yeah, and that's basically it. So now let's see if this works. So we do continue with email, and it routes to the old one for some reason. Let's see here. Maybe we'll reset the app. Test. I've been testing a lot of apps.
async storage is null. Okay, so sometimes we install these apps, these packages, like React Native async storage, as well as Firebase a little bit later. And so sometimes we have to do EXPO prebuild. We have to prebuild our app because basically the prebuild is these iOS folders and then also the Android folder right up here. And these are changed based on what packages we install. And so that's why we have to do the npx expo prebuild. So if you have any troubles like randomly and you install new packages, you probably just need to rebuild the app. And so we're going to see how it has to install CocoaPods again because it has like different dependencies in the package.json. AppShip is already running port 8083. Okay, I think we're gonna pull up a new instance. So this will take a little bit. Let me see. Other than that, I think we're good on that aspect. So now we just have to check and make sure everything works after this is set up. Yeah, and also on a side note, in the Firebase config, you don't want to be exposing these variables. So you'll just want to make sure if you upload this to a GitHub repo that you either delete this or ignore this Firebase config file, add it to your git ignore, or use env variables and make a .env.local file in your root directory. So yeah, and I don't know if it's good practice, but I also like to add the iOS and Android folders to the git ignore, so then when you pre-build it. So we'll walk through the process real quick. So after the index, they'll go to the login page, and after the login page, they'll go into the tabs. And once they're in the tabs, they'll run this layout, and this is how the tabs are set up. We have like tab 1 and then tab 2, and then as you press on them, you go through that interface. So let's see, it looks like it's ready to go. Let's continue with email. Okay, this is actually not working as expected. So this is supposed to be like a modal, and so it pops up over. Let's see here. Oh, you know why? We have to change the login page. The layout page. So right now we have the index page, and we want the login to actually be more of like a modal. So let's go to the layout, and right here, the login page, we want to have specific features. So we do need the login page. Okay, so I was right on that. Let's add these touchable opacity, and then also we need icons, expo vector icons, and router from expo router. All right, perfect. So basically what we're doing here is making this a modal. So then when this pops up, I need to save this. So then it pulls up instead of comes from the side. Header title, we're changing the font, and basically we're adding this like on router back. So instead of having to drag this down, which you can do, you can also hit that, and then it goes back to the index folder. Okay, that looks good. So now let's create an account because we don't have an account yet. This is my email if you want to email me, just in case we have to do some type of verification. But yeah, so it created the account, and we are inside our app. And so that's how you set up authentication. And if you want to do, I also set up sign out and a delete. Sign out is good, so then the user can sign out of their account. And delete account is also good because the iOS store requires the user to be able to delete their account. So that's important to have. And so there's just these two quick functions. We'll just copy and paste this and go into these two folder. And so we're basically adding these two buttons right here, a sign out and delete account. And it's super simple. We just import the Firebase auth from our Firebase config that we initialized earlier. And then we call sign out or delete on the current user. And then so let's test it out, see if it works. So first we sign out. Let's see. So I figured out why the sign out button doesn't do anything. The reason is we need this line right here. It says get auth on auth state change. We check if there's a user, and if there's not a user, then we go to we replace the router and we go to the initial landing page or the index.tsx, which is the original page, but otherwise we just stay on this page if we don't do anything. And so basically this is a Firebase function, get auth. So we're gonna have to import this from Firebase auth and set is loading. We're gonna also need a const set is loading true, and we're also gonna need an EXPO router. Yeah, so that looks good. And then we'll also add this too, which basically if it's loading, we just say like that it's loading. So nothing too crazy. We're also going to need a text style. It does not have a props. I think that's fine. I don't know why it's not fine, but yeah, so if it's loading, we'll basically show this. If it's not loading, then we don't show this. So router.replace. So now when we click sign out, yeah, so since there was no user, it automatically had recognized the on F state change, and then it went back to here. So now if we log in, we should be able to log back into our account. Property text does not exist. Okay, property text. Do we not have text on React Native? Okay, text. Okay, there we go. That was there. Now let's actually log back in. Perfect. Okay, so perfect. Now we're logging. We can sign out now, but now we're gonna delete account. Router does not exist, and then we're going to try and log in, and our account should be deleted. Yeah, we got invalid credentials, but also I think our account was not deleted, so we can continue. We can actually test this out and see, and go to authentication, and yeah, we have no users, so perfect. And just to make sure that does work, we're going to check if we make a user, and then it pops up. And boom, we have our user. So then we have our logged in, and we have set up Firebase authentication. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you use the GitHub Anyhands app ship, please leave a star on it. That'd be much helpful. Thank you very much.